I stared at the entrance to the old hospital, taking in every detail. Cracks ran through the bricks like spider webs, and vines entwined the facade. A strange object on the edge of the encroaching forest, a relic of a time long gone. It seemed wrong that it was still there, something out of place, and that only fueled my interest. So what? Are we going to stand here all day or go see this miracle? Kyle asked, lightly patting me on the back. Come on. I don't want to waste the day, Maddie interjected, tugging at my arm. Whatever you say. Ladies first, I replied, gesturing toward the door. Maddie shot me a piercing look. The inside of the hospital was in even worse shape than the outside. The lamps were broken, the walls were covered in graffiti, and pink mineral wool hung from the ceiling. As an avid Urbex fan, I enjoyed every moment. There's something about places people shouldn't go that always gets the adrenaline pumping. I lived for that thrill, but after that day, my passion for abandoned places faded. We were photographing abandoned medical equipment when Kyle brought it up. Guys? He whispered, though we were alone. Huh? I replied, hearing the tremor in his voice. Do you feel like we're being watched? I don't know if it's just me, but something tells me we're not alone here. Stop it. You're trying to play a prank on me, but it won't work this time. How gullible do you think I am? Maddie snapped, crossing her arms over her chest. Maddie, I swear I'm not kidding. Her expression faltered as she caught the seriousness in Kyle's tone. Really? Jake, is he serious? I sighed. It was never easy when Maddie got nervous. Things had been going smoothly up until now, and I didn't want to ruin the moment. Let's do it this way. Kyle, if we check a few more rooms and your sixth sense is still sounding the alarm, we're leaving. Deal? Despite the approving nods, I felt the atmosphere change. The tension began to build, almost tangible, like I could reach out and touch it. Knowing what I know now, I wish we had left the moment Kyle spoke. We continued our search without further objection. We took photographs of our finds in silence, and that oppressive feeling wouldn't go away. I tried to find words to ease the tension, but nothing came to mind. Finally, Maddie broke the silence. So, who's ready to search the morgue? She asked, a devilish smile spreading across her face. Kyle and I looked at each other. Neither of us wanted to go, but we didn't have much of a choice. If we didn't, Maddie would call us cowards for the rest of her life. Okay, let's go, Kyle said. He tried to sound confident, but we both knew the truth. Okay, but after this, we're leaving, I said. My friends nodded, and we set off to find the morgue. We found him about 10 minutes later. As we walked, I tried to figure out if I could feel the stares Kyle had talked about. At one point, I actually thought I could feel them. A strong, overwhelming sense that we weren't alone. I started looking over my shoulder every now and then, but I never voiced my concern, which I still regret. Before I knew it, I was heading down the stairs to the basement. The beams from our flashlights danced along the steps, cutting through the pitch blackness below. At the bottom, a long hallway with double doors at the end awaited us. Creepy, huh? Maddie whispered as she continued walking. Yeah, kind of creepy, I said, shuddering. It was colder in here, which only made the atmosphere more tense. We stopped at the door. So, who's first? Maddie asked, studying our faces. I think you are. Your idea, Kyle replied, his lips stretching into a smug grin. Yeah, like I said, ladies first, I agreed, earning another look. Okay, but if I die, I'll come back for you and take you with me. Maddie opened the doors and walked in first. Kyle and I followed. It was creepy in this room. Kyle turned to me, grinning mockingly again. and whispered in my ear, "Let's play a prank on Maddie. You distract her, and I'll climb into one of the refrigerated compartments and make a racket. I'm sure she'll scream so loud it'll wake the dead." I smiled. Maddie would never forgive us for this. "One problem," I muttered. "How will you close?" "I'll figure it out. It's just, nice try, assholes." "Got it." Maddie looked at us like we were the devil incarnate. I blushed, sweat running down my forehead. "We weren't actually going to do that. Just an idea," Kyle said, scratching the back of his head. She didn't believe him. Bang. Suddenly, a rumble came from one of the morgue cabinets that Kyle had just told you about. At first, it was quiet, the kind that could easily be attributed to the creaking of old metal. But very quickly, it turned into a loud clang. We looked at each other, our eyes chalk white. The sound turned into a deafening bang. Something was pounding hard on the door from the inside. It became clear. Kyle's premonition had been surprisingly accurate. We weren't alone in the hospital. We stood there, frozen, watching helplessly as the door buckled under the blows. Again and again, and again. Bam, 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 bam. To my horror, the door gave way. For a second, everything was silent, the twisted metal creaking, hanging on by its last hinges. And then something began to emerge from the compartment. Something sinister. A pair of legs emerged from the darkness. The skin was a deep purple, the stitches at the ankles barely holding. Behind them was a dirty, bloody hospital gown, and then a pair of ragged arms. Finally, the creature suddenly poked its head out and, straining, jumped off the shelf. That face would haunt me for the rest of my life. The stitches pulled the mottled skin together. The crudely cut flesh was an unhealthy yellow, uneven. The smile was crooked, too many teeth jutting out in that crooked grin. And the eyes, they were completely black, lifeless, soulless. Kyle suddenly grabbed my arm tightly. Without a word, he took off running, Maddie following him. This gave me the determination to run after them. The three of us ran down the hallway, desperately trying to get away from whatever we had woken up. My heart was pounding like a jackhammer as I realized we were being chased. The slap of my bare feet on the tiles made my legs work faster than ever. Having reached the stairs, I jumped 3 steps at a time, and at the top I darted like an arrow towards the exit. In the basement the creature was catching up with us, but on the main landing I no longer heard those wet, awkward slaps behind me. And yet I didn't stop. I ran, not looking back for a second, until I flew out the front doors, unlocked the car, and collapsed behind the wheel. Only then did I allow myself to catch my breath. A second later, Kyle swung open the passenger door, stumbled in, and slammed the lock. He turned to me, pale and sweating. Still gasping for air, he managed to croak out the words that still ring in my head. "Jake? Where's Maddie?" My heart sank. She wasn't there. Should we go back? I asked, a cold dread seizing me at the thought. We sat there, staring out the windshield, praying that our friend would suddenly throw the doors open and rush in. She didn't. We sat there longer than I'd care to admit, silent, desperately trying to find a way out. We finally called the police. The police searched the entire hospital and the surrounding woods, but found no trace of Maddie or the man who had followed us. Other than the reports of the appointment, there was no evidence that Maddie had even been there. It was as if she had simply disappeared. But Kyle and I knew what really happened. We left her there with that thing. We put our safety above hers. Because of us, she died, and we had to live with it. Over the next few weeks, Kyle and I grew apart. Maddie was still nowhere to be seen, and I don't think we could bear the weight of it all. Every time I looked at Kyle, I was hit with a crushing reminder of what we'd done, or, more accurately, what we hadn't done. Eventually, we only texted occasionally, until one afternoon he sent me a strange message. "Dude, I need to talk to you. Not on the phone, in person. Meet me by the pond in the park at 8 p.m. The message caught me off guard. Whatever it was, it sounded urgent. As it turned out, it was. I found Kyle on a bench by the pond. It wasn't quite dark yet, but the sun was already shining over the horizon. As I sat down next to him, I noticed that he was staring into space. His hair was tousled, and he looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Kyle, are you okay? You look like you've been through a meat grinder." He turned, his bloodshot eyes meeting mine. "Jake, I'm not okay. I'm never going to be okay again, man. I can't take this anymore." His voice cracked, tears glistening in the corners of his eyes. "No, you can't think that. It's going to get better. If this is because of Maddie, she's..." Kyle looked at me with an icy gaze, as if cutting me off. "You haven't seen her, have you? That means it's just me. Shit, 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 shit. I'm done, man. That's it. She's going to come for me, and then she's going to get to you through me." And I grabbed Kyle by the shoulders and shook him. He was raging like a madman, like a mental hospital without his meds. "Pull yourself together. What are you even talking about? Meeting Maddie? What does this mean?" Kyle froze, his tousled hair fluttering in the ominous wind. "It sounds crazy, but Maddie comes to me. Or what's left of her. Her mouth is sewn shut, her hair is soaked in blood, and now she's wearing a hospital gown. It took her. She's not alive anymore, Jake. That thing from the hospital. It's using her to get to me. And when it gets there, you'll be next." I couldn't answer right away. I stared at him with my mouth open, turning his words over in my head. Was it even possible? "That's it. That's all I wanted to tell you. Well, and, I guess, say goodbye. I don't think I can hold out much longer. Jake, I'm really scared." Tears started streaming down his cheeks, and the first thing I did was hug him. He was sobbing, and I tried to calm him down, but the shaking that shook him didn't stop. "Look, everything will be fine. Trust me. You won't die. I'll figure out how to get out of this." We both knew it was empty words, but it was better than silence. Kyle pulled away, wiped his eyes, and that strange expression I had noticed when we met returned to his face. "Jake, I really hope you're right, for both of our sakes." That evening, I called Kyle's mother and shared my worries with her. Her son was withering away, and whether it was some entity hunting his soul or some vivid hallucination, I was determined to help. But it was all in vain. Kyle's body was found 2 days later. He shot himself with a 12-gauge shotgun. Neighbors said they heard screams. Hysterical, like Kyle was trying to get away from someone, or something. Then, they said, several shots rang out, and then an eerie silence. No one saw anyone enter or leave the house, which only added to the chaos. The news portrayed him as a man with an advanced mental disorder, a psycho whose own untreated delusions drove him to the worst decisions. But I know Kyle saw the real thing, because lately I've been seeing her too. She first appeared the night Kyle died, standing under the street lamp across from my window. His description was eerily accurate. Maddie's eyes are sewn shut. Her arms hang limply at her sides. Her hair is shiny with something dark, and her hospital gown is stained yellow and spreading across her chest. But her smile, there was something evil about it. Something evil was pulling at the strings. And I'm afraid I'm going to find out the hard way what that is. 3 days have passed. I've started seeing Kyle, too. They're getting closer every day. They were in my room last night. They just stood there, watching, smirking, teasing. Maddie with her blind eyes and her smile that showed off her extra teeth. Kyle with what was left of his reassembled face, flesh and bone fused into something vaguely human. Now I realize they came with a message. My doomsday clock is ticking, and I have only a few hours left. Because when I woke up this morning, written in deep red on my bedroom wall were the words, "Your soul is mine tonight."